Hey, True Believers England team here, the homegrown tourist. I'm telling you, I've been having a lot of fun with these. I just actually said this, talking about all of the rides. We did EPCOT 2 weeks ago. We did the Magic Kingdom before that video. Both of them are set up right here. So please check those out. We've done part 1 EPCOT. We are on round 2. We're going to get through round 2, 3, and maybe even 4. And figure out what is the best attraction at EPCOT Center. And we've knocked out a couple of favorites. We knocked out Frozen. Is that a favorite?
By no one.
Don't make me go. Don't make me wait on that again.
I will say it's a popular ride. I don't know if it's a favorite among this crowd. Gail loves it. She doesn't. One thing I'm thinking of when we talk about the Frozen ride, and you guys have been on it, so you can attest to this. So the whole point was it's going to be this new attraction, and we both know it's an overlay. They just gave Norway Maelstrom a fresh coat of Frozen paint. But you would think that they could fix the hills, because every hill was this bouncy. It was like a chain track, like a roller coaster. Most log flumes, and basically this is a log flume, it's a boat ride, are just like this flat conveyor belt thing that takes you smoothly up a hill. It's just, and I'm telling you, as an old man, it's not good on the back. No.
I just want to say that Maelstrom made me wish that I was Norwegian, just because it has that cool thing where it shows the Vikings turning into the oil rig workers at the end. I'm like, that's so cool. Like the people of Norway now used to be Vikings. They used to be these awesome guys. Like, oh man, that's awesome. I can't imagine like anybody from Norway visiting Epcot like abroad going on that ride, and they probably left like thinking like, yeah, we're awesome.
Now, here's the thing though. By that logic, Frozen is an awesome ride because it makes me wish I was Frozen.
yeah. Cryogenically, so you can outlive Disney.
So I can outlive that ride.
I still stand by what I said last time, and I won't go into detail into that because that's a little rough.
That and the fact that you have a crush on Olaf. Right.
Who doesn't?
Okay. I know, right? In summer. All righty. So I've got these lined up in 5. We got 5 first battles here, and then we're going to break that down. In the second round, 1 ride's going to get a pass, and I'm going to save it for the ones that are voted. Like if there's something that we all vote for, then it's going to be one of those. So, all right. So let's get this thing started. You know what, Tim? Why don't you start us off and tell us which one you would choose out of these 2 and why? Club Cool or Seabase Alpha?
I would still choose Seabase Alpha because technically Club Cool, I wouldn't even. It's an attraction for sure, but what's the right terminology for it? If we're looking at Seabase Alpha, are we including the ride or just the?
No, just the aquarium.
Okay.
So both of them are walk-arounds. Both of them you spend as much time in as you want. But there you go. Club Cool, for those of you who do not know, is like this big Coke store where you can go and try different Coca-Colas from around the world.
Keyword was.
Keyword Coke as in Coca-Cola, not as in something else.
No, that's in Miami. That's in South Beach. We do have a place like that where you could go try some fine Florida cocaine, but it's a whole other tourist attraction.
Yeah, and it's just outside of the International Parkway, but we can't really talk about that. I would choose still Seabase Alpha because, as I've said many times, we also have to look at the cost benefit. A lot of people are coming in internationally. A lot of people will only go to Disney World on their first time because it's expensive, especially if you're not from there. So you want to get the most bang for your buck. And as I mentioned last week, there was a time in our nation's history where the aquarium, Seabase Alpha, was actually the largest aquarium in the United States until they built the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. It is a freaking huge aquarium. They have a select number of sharks, dolphins, sea turtles, stingrays, a multitude of fish. It is really cool if you're an adult or a child. Club Cool, no pun intended, is pretty cool. but it's a tasting experience. You go around, you taste different flavors. It's nice, it's refreshing, but it's not something that you're paying top dollar for. So I would definitely say this is a no contest.
Okay, Professor, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I have to agree. Seabase Alpha is just, I think as an attraction, it seriously is better than Club Cool, even when Club Cool was there. So I think it's time to kill the club.
Alrighty. All right, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the aquarium, especially when you have to spend like 3 hours there. But it is an attraction, and Club Cool isn't. Club Cool's a nice place to go and trick your friends into sipping Beverly and to try some good drinks, but it's really just a brief pit stop. And the aquarium is an actual attraction with some cool things to see, just as long as you're not in there for 3 hours. So yeah.
And I would agree with you, and mainly for look, I love Club Cool. It lost a little bit when you stopped having to go through the actual Arctic part. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do, and it was awesome.
Yeah, you used to actually walk down a hallway. It just felt like you were going into an Arctic. I can understand why they stopped that, because the air conditioning bill, because they kept ice frozen in that hallway to give you the feeling that you were going into an Arctic area. When they lost that, it became just a tasting area. Hello to my pickles, LOL, Tim and Mark are everywhere. Green, apparently you guys are bringing your audience here.
Pickles followed us from a different stream.
Hi guys from Green October, and I'm super tired. My eyes are being wonky. Well, chill, relax, just shut your eyes for a bit and let our smooth jazz voices take you home, man. John Talk is saying, I thought this channel was called The Homegrown Terrorist. See, that's why I put tourist. That's my sense of humor. The funny thing is when I was testing and I was telling people around the park, I said, yeah, you got to go to my Disney channel, because I do that sometimes. I said, it's called The Homegrown Tourist. And they would look at me going, and that's when I knew it's exactly what I wanted, because my sense of humor, I wanted it to sound like The Homegrown Terrorist. But there you go. Nobody gets it. Nobody gets it. Maranya saying, welcome everyone to the magic kingdom of live streams with England team, Professor Pixel, Mark, and Tim.
The most magical stream on earth.
The one where the only guy showing his face is the ugliest among us. So, all right, let's get to the second one. Gonna hand this off to you, Mark. Reflections of China. Or Canada, or Canada far and wide.
Oh, China, hands down. Because at least China is like, so that's like a meme just between me and Tim and the people that go there is, China, and a wave of my hand and I am gone. But I really will return again sometime.
That is, you almost sound just like him too.
By Lee Bai, yeah. Oh boy, I could be the next Charlie Chan if they would just let me, not destroy my reputation. But no, it's
what they did with Tinkerbell. I don't think they're giving a white guy Charlie Chan.
Yeah, not anytime soon. No, China is just so much cooler. It's got the circle vision. It's got a better narrator. Fake Lee Bai is better than Martin Short's. I mean, we do China every single year. We do it as much as we do the Great American Adventure. And Canada, I think we did once, realized how annoying Martin Short was, and then just never did it again. So yeah, China.
Okay. Professor, where are you going with that?
I feel like Neil Patrick Harris in How I Met Your Mother when he's talking to Robin. He's saying, "Robin, I'm so sorry. You had to grow up in Canada when the United States was right there. It was just a little bit away, and you had to do that." So I'm going to have to also choose China, even though I do like Martin Short. I just feel like comparing the two as rides, as attractions, I feel like China is more updated. Just the use of the circle vision is better, and I think if Canada updated anytime soon, maybe they could have a little competition. But it's China.
Yeah.
China.
So I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of Martin Short. He was a nursemaid for our first daughter and helped birth her with Gail.
Oh.
So he's very close to the family. So even though he's that kind of guy and that close to our family, I have to go with China as well. It's just something we do. Now, look, I love going back and seeing the waterfall and everything. And if we were talking about most beautiful pavilions, then maybe Canada would win. But when you're talking about the show, the 360 with China going down that river, the whole there's just so much more beautiful to see in that than there is in Canada. So I'm going to end this. Where would you have gone, Tim?
China.
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 It is from China. All right, so that would have been that would have taken us. That's what do you call it? Everybody. There you go. Yes, slobber knocker. Professor. All right, let's get to the next battle.
All right.
This one may be a little bit easy. I'm giving you the easy one this time around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Disney Pixar shorts or the American Adventure.
That is easy.
They're both sit-down shows. They're the only ones that fit. So
I know, and it does fit. Yeah, I do hate killing Pixar shorts because that's truly one of the most updated attractions that they have. But America is just so beautiful. America's right there.
America's right there. Tim, how about it?
America.
All righty. Now, you want to say why? I mean, like we should know. America.
Very good. Very good. The best. Everyone knows it.
You're looking at at basically what you could get at home on DVD versus a live stage show. Well, not live. It's audio animatronics, but it's done with on stage. It's huge production. Mark, in this.
America, honestly. I mean, really, England team.
They're both sit-down shows. I looked at everything. I went, okay, what matches up with this? And that's what I try to do. I try to put the like ones together. And
let me just chime in real quick, England team. So I'm kidding here, but I did have some colleagues of mine, some former coworkers and friends. I don't think they're my friends anymore, but what happened was they're big Disney nuts. They go to Disneyland and Disney World at least once a year, and they live on the left coast. And we were talking one time, and we were having a very good conversation about the theme parks. And they were talking about EPCOT, and I said, "Oh, have you been to American Adventure yet?" And they, like, the derision that they had. They were basically like, "No." It's like, why? And it's like, because it's boring, and no one likes that patriotic bullcrap.
Well, everybody.
They are big commies. I mean, like, you can go on their Twitter feed, and it's so weird because they have such fealty to the Disney corporation, but then almost nothing that they used to stand for. And I think that was really the start of the decline of our friendship, because I was like, that is, you can't have the essence of Disney without the patriotic element. Like, I'm sorry.
It's been there since the very beginning.
Yeah,
it really has. It amazes me at the politics of Disney now versus Walt Disney's politics, considering everywhere in the park. There used to be a freaking show called America Sings.
Yeah.
How could you say that Disney's not patriotic? And then you got this show, America, spread your golden wings. Flying. Anyway, it's such a great freaking, I mean, it just boom. Yeah. What were you going to say, Professor?
And the fact that they wanted to make an American, well,
that's right.
Disney's America. They wanted to make a park, but people
up in Virginia, and people like, do we want you to pave over this historic battlefield to put up something fake? Yeah, we're going to pass. I understand why they did that. I really do. Let's see. Okay, it's my turn, right? All righty. I gave myself one of the hard ones.
About time.
Yeah, I know, right? And my choice is between the Grand Fiesta in the Mexico Pavilion, the Three Caballeros, versus Seas with Nemo. Gail, which way to go?
That's not a hard one.
That's not. Gail's laughing because she goes, "This isn't a hard one for you." I have a favorite ride at Epcot, and it is the Grand Fiesta. You want to talk about a show you go on every time, a ride you go on every time. Granted, we do tend to do Nemo, but we do Nemo because the line's short. I mean, it's okay. It's a good ride. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I love that freaking song. I like the cartoons within it. I love the Three Caballeros animatronics. Not that there's bad animatronics in Nemo. It's just that if you give me a choice, every freaking time I am in that Mexican pavilion, I love the walk up to it. I think it's possibly the best. We'll have to do a bracket on that too. But it's possibly the best pavilion. And you just get on the ride. It's a nice boat tour. You go by the restaurant. You got the volcano. By the way, the volcano does spit out a hidden Mickey in its smoke. Check that out if you haven't noticed it already. And you just go through. You see all the little temples. And, of course, they've got the screens with Donald. And all it is the Three Caballeros are trying to find Donald because they have a concert to go to. So that's why they're at the end on the stage. Wah! But there you go. For me, Grand Fiesta, easy peasy. Bump.
Grand Fiesta, again, easy peasy for this one.
Really?
Yeah. As in, I would keep the Grand Fiesta tour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's in its newest incarnation. It's a perfect example of how you can revamp an old attraction without losing any of the spirit of it. I don't know if I even mentioned that last time, but that I think is its greatest grace is that honestly, we could ride that ride at least one or at least 2 or 3 times during our stay there, and it does not feel.
We did it twice the last time we were there.
What I want to mention about it too is because its wait time is typically the same as like the People Mover. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty fast-moving attraction, well, until you get to the end, and sometimes you have the whole thing where you have a log jam. But it's just so leisurely. It's so wholesome, so good-natured. It does something also that I think the pavilions all try to do, which is, yes, there's some stereotyping involved, but they try to present really the best version of that country and its culture to what people typically think of when they associate with it. I mean, it should make you feel like, man, I want to go here someday because this place looks really fun and really cool. And I think that by incorporating Donald and the Three Caballeros into it, it actually does a really good job in doing that in an unobtrusive way, in much the same way they did with Jack Sparrow when they first introduced him in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay. Now, I got to tell you, I'm just going to toss this out there. I think stereotype gets a bad rap. Stereotype.
I won't disagree with that.
Stereotype is a stereotype because it holds an element of truth. It just does. And for some reason, we're saying that unconsciously, I think people are saying that truth is a bad thing. Like, no, or assuming the truth, that particular truth is a bad thing. And I don't see it. I just do not see it. All righty, Mark, are you going to stand up for the seas with Nemo or?
Nah, not at all. Grand Fiesta all the way. I love it. I talked about it, I think a lot in the last EPCOT stream we did, so I won't repeat myself too much, but I think that it's a fun ride. I've only experienced it as the Three Caballeros version, but I actually think that whatever existed before that, I think the Three Caballeros version is an intuitive improvement. Those characters were created to create awareness of culture and history from South and Central America. So they're just a perfect fit for the Grand Fiesta Tour and for Epcot. They add a lot of fun to it. I love the animatronics at the end. They're classic Disney characters that go back, to the 30s and 40s. It's just, it's a great little ride. You never have to wait long for it, and you get to smell Mexican food the entire time you're in there. It's wonderful.
Goodness gracious. You know what? I was telling Gail, we're going to go back. We're going to try that restaurant because we tried the outside. We tried the one that's the one that's next to the fast food service. And now I want to try the other so we can do different things on different price points to see kind of that one show worth it, but Disney style. I think that would be a good time because we went to 2 of them. We just have 1 left. Man, good food at that Mexican pavilion. All righty. Let's see. So that's done. So far, everything's been unanimous. Or Professor, would you have stood up for Nemo?
No, I wouldn't have. I was actually going to say something against Nemo.
Wow. Okay.
While the screens are great, you made a point of the animatronics. The animatronics have been lacking. Every time I've ridden that ride in the past 6 months.
For Nemo?
Yeah. What's that fish called? The one that has a little
Wanda?
light.
No, keep going. That's an old man joke. All right.
Well, the one that has a light on it, an anglerfish?
Yeah.
Every time it's broken, it doesn't move right. Neither does Marlin, and so it
I admit that. Look, I like the jellyfish scene. I think that's done really well. Bruce the shark looks pretty cool. That's true. That's true. But his friend is. There are some good things in it. I love the turtles. Gail hates that part. She always gets sick on it. But I dig that part. There's a lot to like in Nemo. But the thing is I would have liked that ride just as much had it stayed a ride through a giant aquarium. I did before. I think it was a unique attraction because literally you were in a ride that was surrounded, just surrounded by all this water. To me, it would have been just as good. All right. This is the last battle here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What do we got? One of these is going to get a pass here for the next round. But this is the last battle. Tim, back to you. Test Track versus Spaceship Earth.
Oh my gosh. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. What's hard about this that we didn't encounter with the Magic Kingdom is that the centerpiece of the Magic Kingdom, the castle, does not have an attraction in it. But this one is almost like I feel like I'm going to be committing a heresy if I vote against Spaceship Earth. I will still go with Spaceship Earth. And I'm going to make the argument not just based on the fact that it's a centerpiece, because in this conversation, I don't think that that's enough to justify keeping something. I think that every incarnation of the ride so far has been serviceable to the purpose of the theme park, which is entertainment and education. I do think that the Judi Dench recent version is the weakest of the three. I mean, you just have to Google or go on YouTube and look at Walter Cronkite's version and Jeremy Irons' version, and you can see the potential of it. They are actually due for another refurbishment and another revamping. It was actually scheduled for this year, but with all the craziness happening, it got postponed.
It was going to be down for 2 years.
Yes, and so there is still a chance that it can be revamped and turned into something new. Test Track, don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's probably the most fun ride in the park as far as the thrill is concerned, but I think that it has not even shined a light to its predecessor, the World of Motion, in terms of accomplishing an educational goal. So to that end, this is probably the toughest decision as far as this park is concerned, but I will say that Spaceship Earth needs to stay.
All righty. Professor, what do you think?
This is difficult. See, This is a difficult choice, Angleton. What you gave yourself was not difficult in any way.
Well, that was part of the joke because I knew my wife over here, because I tell her every time we're going to Grand Fiesta.
I'm actually going to have to go the other way. I think because of the latest version of the Epcot ball, where it's just half an educational lesson and then half a cartoon that sometimes captures your photo.
Oh yeah, have you ever gotten that one where it's like
half your face
because you're not sitting exactly centered?
Or it'll just turn you into a cartoon. And Test Track has been updated the most recently, and I feel like its update was so much better than its predecessor, and I was really worried about them updating Test Track. So I have to go with Test Track, even though it's not as educational as the Epcot Ball, I feel like as an attraction that gets attention, I feel like it deserves to beat the other. So,
all righty, Mark, how about you? Where do you stand?
I mean, this one actually isn't as hard a choice for me as it was for everybody else. I would go with Spaceship Earth.
Okay.
I mean, as an old man, I suppose, I actually find narrative rides more entertaining than thrill rides. And Spaceship Earth is a narrative ride. You're sitting there and you're going through a whole like history lesson. But I've never seen a kid who is bored or not having a good time or not completely engrossed in Spaceship Earth. It's one of those rides where, yeah, it's educational, but you're sitting there and you're going through a dark ride and you're seeing robots and everything, and you're seeing these cool dioramas. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Test Track is a thrill ride. You have that little bit before you go out on the actual test track, but it's still just a fancy roller coaster, essentially. But the Spaceship Earth it's the centerpiece of the park. They put an actual ride in the centerpiece of the park, which they don't do on the other ones. It's great. It fits the educational original intent of the park. I don't know. It encapsulates what Epcot is supposed to be in a ride, better than perhaps what any other park has as a ride that's supposed to encapsulate what it represents. So,
okay. By the way, this is the second time you guys have said that. Hollywood Studios, the centerpiece is Mann's Chinese Theater.
They keep changing their mind on that.
In spite of what they were doing with that stupid freaking hat, it was Mann's Chinese Theater, which had a ride in it since the beginning. I hated that freaking hat. I really did.
Well, for a while, Eiffel Tower was their centerpiece, wasn't it? That was their like representative icon.
No, that was always in the back.
Oh, I know it was in the back during the studio tour thing, but wasn't that at one point considered their centerpiece and not Mann's Chinese Theater?
No, it was like an icon, but it was never.
Oh, but it wasn't the centerpiece. Okay, yeah, okay.
It was always Mann's Chinese. Okay, so I'm looking at this, and I've been listening to you guys. I'm really thinking about it, and I'm thinking about how much fun I do have on Test Track, and I really do have a lot of fun on Test Track. Until it's like, woo, I'm driving in a car, because I think kids, of course, have a lot more fun on Test Track because, it's testing the brakes, it's doing the turning thing, and it really is a fun ride, and the overlay is really cool as well. As an adult, though, I've got to go Spaceship Earth for half the ride, but the other half I really don't care about. I don't like the cartoon, so it's like both of them to me are half a ride. And the most thrilling part to some is the most boring part to me, and that is the big loop around when you're outside and you're going 88 miles an hour. So both of these, in my opinion, are half an attraction. But I know this for a fact, that my wife has decided to be a tiebreaker because we've got 4 people here. And so if I say Test Track, and she has a choice between Test Track and Spaceship Earth, honey, Spaceship Earth. So I might as well just go with Spaceship Earth on this one. And here's the thing, though. I may okay with either one of these, but in all honesty, if I'm thinking about what's the most Disney, I've got to go Spaceship Earth. Not only, of course, sure, it's like, going up, but that is 10 minutes worth of a ride. That's longer than most rides last going up the sphere. Yeah. And so even though going down, you're just, and this will be your house of the future. The going up, not only is it I'll get right to you, Prof. Not only is it the most Disney out there, it's because of the audio animatronics, but those audio animatronics a lot of the times have the same faces that you're going to find in other attractions, like the little song, the guy playing the little mandolin thing, and the girl next to him is the dad and daughter from Carousel of Progress. One of the monks is a pirate. So you got all the same faces. So it's like they reuse some of the things, and I love looking at that. Plus, I will defy any of you to tell me you do not like the smell of the burning wood as you're going through Rome.
Do you know that's a candle smell that you can buy online?
That's awesome.
Rome burning.
Yeah, that is awesome. What were you gonna say, Prof?
I understand I've lost. I'm going to accept that. I just feel like when we talk about where these rides are located, even though the EPCOT ball is the centerpiece, it is still part of Future World. And what fits the idea of the future most? It's not that. Honestly, the last thing we see towards the future is Steve Jobs in his garage. So I just feel like when it comes to theming, if we're talking about like Future World, which is what it's supposed to kind of be, I still feel like Test Track fits that. And what, like you said, what feels more Disney, I kind of don't want that in Epcot. Epcot's supposed to be the exception to the rule. We're like, we don't want Elsa there. We don't want the only again, Three Caballeros is different.
Caballeros.
Compared, isn't that what I just said?
No, you said Caballeros. You were like, you're advertising a truck right now. Yeah.
All right. But I feel like when it comes to Epcot, the Epcot ball doesn't feel as Epcot-y anymore.
We're going to trademark that word.
Epcot-y?
Epcot-y, yes. All righty. Okay. There you go. So what we have here, the winners, we have Seabase Alpha, we have American Adventure, Reflections of China beat Canada, Grand Fiesta beat Seas with Nemo, and Spaceship Earth beat Test Track. Now, gentlemen, we have the task of eliminating one of those right now. Mark, which one do you think should go?
List me my options again.
We got Seabase Alpha, American Adventure, Reflections of China, Grand Fiesta, or Spaceship Earth?
Oh, Seabase Alpha. It's just an aquarium. Screw it.
All righty. Professor?
I'll go with that too. It's just an
All right, one more vote does it, Tim.
I would actually say Reflections of China.
Okay, well, you know what? That means it goes to me, and we are not going to need Gail's opinion on this one. Seabase Alpha is out. All righty. Say again? That was going to be hers, so if we needed the extra vote, it would have been that one. Okay, so let's see. That leaves 4. And let's see. We just started with Tim, so let's go over to Mark. Reflection of this. Why is this? This isn't a contest. Reflections of China, Mark, or the American Adventure?
So long, Reflections of China. I'm loyal to America. I'm not selling out to you.
Okay. I just realized, yeah, that's where we stand. Any particular reason like that? Because I know you like China.
Huh?
You're not putting that down. It is a good show, and let's face it, man. That I said it last week. I'll say it again. You know what? I'll do my vote right here. I said it last time we were talking about Epcot. I'll say it now. China, the building it's in is gorgeous. It is one of the best picture spots in the park, hands down. Not just, when you're standing on that one bridge and you can see it perfectly, but past the gardens. Any angle you get this thing, it's a gorgeous building. You walk into it, the red and gold, the columns, the ceilings, everything about this building is beautiful. You go in and you see a good movie. It is a really strong attraction, but I got to tell you something. I was telling Gail last time we were there, I said, I wish they would bring in the Voices of Liberty. And I understand for social distancing, they're keeping them. And I hate that term. You're not social if you're distanced, but they could still bring them in, just put them at the top of the building and sing, while the rest of us are downstairs and still sing. It's a gorgeous building as well. On the inside, on the outside, it looks like a colonial home that, in all honesty, we can drive by all over the place here. China's a gorgeous ride, but in the end, the American Adventure is epic. It really is. All righty. Professor, Reflections of China or American Adventure?
America is right there.
Oh man, having to grow up in China with America, only 14 hours of flight away.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Tim? Where would you have gone on this one?
America first.
All righty. We're making it easy on ourselves, guys. Okay, so let's see. Let's go with Professor, and yours is Grand Fiesta versus Spaceship Earth. Gail's like, oh man, that is a hard one.
Again, England team, this is a hard choice for you. This is what a hard choice is.
Okay. Oh, hold on just a second, because I have done this. Let me see. I did make a comment that I was ugly, and Maranya says Englentine is not ugly. He's a member of a road company of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs understudying Dopey. Are you telling me that I don't look proper where I could play Dopey himself? I always thought Doc because of the glasses, but this is good. Dragon, say again.
I was about to say that too.
Dragon Ball is saying this is good for people who are planning to go or can't but want to learn. Ever been to the Star Wars Disney park? You know, that's next, my friend. Actually, I'm going to save Hollywood Studios for last. And we may wait we may actually wait a month.
Why?
Because it just so happens that two of us here have not been to Star Wars Land here in Walt Disney World, and they are going to get the chance. So why don't we?
You have not been yet?
Oh, I thought you haven't been yet.
We've been. We went last year.
Oh, okay. Well, we could. Yeah, we'll be able to. Never mind. All right. That was the only reason I was going to hold off. I was going to hold off for you guys to get a chance to go on everything.
The only thing we have not been on is Rise of the Resistance. We've done everything else.
So Dragon Ball is also saying Englentine reminds me of a scientist Superman fought in the really old cartoons. All right, cool. And hello and good to see you to Hilliam, who's wishing everybody well here. Let's see. I wonder if you'd like Test Track more if it was Cars themed like Radiator Springs and California Adventure.
They got the cool one.
My gosh. So you guys haven't been yet, right, Englentine?
I've never been to, in my entire life, I've never been to Disneyland.
That ride is real. That's like a perfect ride. Like that, you ride that. It's the exact same layout as Test Track, but the animatronics are incredible because they look like the Cars characters come to life.
I've done this. I told Gail that I want to go around the world and go to the different Disney theme parks.
If we win the lottery, we'll do it. We'll go on a world tour.
I appreciate you offering. Wait, no, are you offering, or are you just saying you're bragging? If we win the lottery, fat boy, you sit your ass.
No, I meant we, as in like we'll take you. We'll take you with us.
Cool. But yeah, the thing is, I showed Gail some video from rides in what do you call it? The sea park over in China. Japan. Yeah. And I showed her some other rides that they have over there, including, did you see the new Beauty and the Beast audio animatronics?
Yes, they're incredible.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous. And now Gail's on this whole, why does everybody else get the cool stuff? We're supposed to be the biggest park. Why is everybody else getting all the cool stuff? I agree. Prof?
You know what? One reason I learned about it through that Imagineering video is that Disney Sea is actually not owned by the Disney Corporation. It's actually licensed out. And so what happens is they get a lot of the advanced R&D because they're actually not hampered or limited by necessarily Disney Imagineering. They work in conjunction with them. But you know how the Japanese are. I mean, in some ways, they are kind of outdated with what they choose as what for like their equipment and stuff. That's why a lot of Japanese use flip phones. But as far as like the private enterprise of that park, they're very cutting edge.
Prof?
I was about to say, no, I wouldn't want Test Track to be Cars themed.
Okay. See, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind it. I understand why, because you want all the characters out, and that is a very popular opinion. As a matter of fact, a lot of people want EPCOT to be separate from all of the marketing, the IPs and such like that, and I can see that. I can back that as well. One reason why we don't get the cool stuff, Gail, is because, and I kid you not, this is what they say. This is the park that everybody knows. This is the classic. And if they shut down a certain ride, like if they shut down Haunted Mansion to put up Nightmare Before Christmas, they're going to get complaint after complaint after complaint that the Haunted Mansion's closed. My thinking is also that this is the big one. People are going to go to Walt Disney World, but they might not go to Disneyland, or they might not take that trip overseas to Disney Tokyo without there being something special over there. But that could just be me.
We are the most popular one.
Yep. All righty, let's see. Well, Dopey is more cheerful than Doc. If you had a beard England team, that would change to Grumpy. Okay, there you go. All righty. So...
Oh, we completely got off base, and I was supposed to make a decision.
Grand Fiesta versus Spaceship. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. I was wondering. Wait, we didn't make this decision yet. All right. Grand Fiesta or Spaceship Earth, Professor Pixel. Which one?
I know this goes against everything that I've been saying because I'm choosing the ride that I like the characters in, brought in from the actual Disney property and put into a ride. I'm going to have to go with Grand Fiesta because I still feel like half of Spaceship Earth is just bad. It's bad.
So the first greatness does not make up for the last badness.
I don't want to sit there for 10 minutes going down.
Okay. Mark, how about you?
That's actually a tough one. I do really like both of them. But Grand Fiesta Tour, it's an educational ride through Mexico, whereas Spaceship Earth is an educational ride through all of human history. So I feel like that includes Mexico on a technicality. So I'm gonna have to go with Spaceship Earth, and I don't mind the part where you're leaning back and going down the illuminated like escalator essentially. I'm happy to get out of the sun and to just have a very long ride where I'm sitting and doing something, even if it's just backing down a hallway. So yeah, it's gonna have to be Spaceship Earth for me.
All righty, Tim.
I will agree with that. It will definitely be Spaceship Earth.
All righty, man. This is a difficult one. Here's the thing: if I'm looking at these objectively, I would go. Spaceship Earth seems grander. It seems like even though yes, that back half is empty, that crawl to the top is amazing. When you come around and you do see Earth right there, it there is something to it. On the other hand, if I'm going personally, I can leave without doing Spaceship Earth, and I'm okay. And Grand Fiesta, on the other hand, I've never left. I've never gone to EPCOT and not wanted to do it and haven't done it on my own volition. Like I might have gone with Gail and her mom, and her mom's, okay, we need to leave or something like that. But otherwise, I always make a point to go to Grand Fiesta. This is difficult. Gail, you want to chime in?
Me?
Yeah.
I would pick Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth?
Yeah.
Why would you pick Spaceship Earth?
Because it's EPCOT. It's the EPCOT ball.
It's because it's the EPCOT ball. That was actually okay. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is epic. It is epic, and it's got the audio animatronics, and it's got the show scene. And in all honesty, I have to. Damn, this is tough. Okay, you know what? Okay, this is why. This is why I'm going to go with Spaceship Earth, because ultimately, as much as I love it, and I do love it, I swear to God, I love Grand Fiesta. But when I look at the two, Spaceship Earth is an original ride, and Three Caballeros is a paint job. A paint job I love. It made it better, but I don't know how sad I would be if they actually went through and made it Coco. It's so I've got to go Spaceship Earth. It's an original IP, and it does feel grand and epic for that first 10 minutes. Sorry to leave you out in the cold there, Prof.
Again.
But, yeah, you seem to be the free thinker here.
Mr. Unpopular Opinion.
I know, right?
If they took that out and put Coco, I would be pissed.
I would be too. I will say that. I don't want to see Coco in that ride. It's great with the Caballeros.
You know what? The thing is you know what? I am such a fan. Have you guys seen the mariachi band doing their Coco bit?
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. I am a fan of that movie. So like I said, I don't know, but dude, that one song is so freaking catchy. We're three caballeros. Anyway,
happy caballeros.
Yeah.
They say we are birds of a feather. Maranya's saying she calls shenanigans on the argument since they're going to shut down Splash, but they're not going to shut down Splash Mountain. Okay, this is my take on the whole thing. Of course, we're talking about the fact that was mentioned to put in what you call it. What was it? Princess and the Frog. Well, here's the thing: they just lost $1 gajillion because of COVID. They will have to put that money back into they got to get that money back into the coffers before they start revamping Spaceship Earth.
Everything calmed down.
Yeah.
So they're not worried about.
So what I'm thinking is they're going to talk about it and they'll put it out there and you'll have that meme, but they're going to ride this one out, and when everybody forgets about it, they're going to gauge the win. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Forget it. It's still Splash Mountain with I don't see this happening anytime soon. What about you, Tim?
Splash Mountain, the revamp, when they first announced it, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. But I think you're right. When you look at what they've postponed, for example, they've postponed the Ratatouille finishment of their construction until next year. They have postponed Mary Poppins as well. Yep. And basically a lot of this stuff is on hiatus. I think what's gonna happen, and this is just me knocking on wood, they've postponed the Splash Mountain revamp, and I'm betting that in a year the political climate will hopefully subside and they will brush it under the rug as if nothing happened.
That's what I'm thinking too. I mean, they just had $1 billion loss. No way they're going to say, hey, because we want to placate Twitter. And let's face it, it's Twitter. It's not the real world. It's Twitter that they're trying to placate. Since we want to placate Twitter, we better change this thing. Now, if Antifa shows up at Splash Mountain, I will kind of want to be there. See if I can't get kicked out for fighting.
I'll point out something else. It's pseudo-political, but it has backing to it, like numbers. Yeah. So when Princess and the Frog came out in theaters, it was after it had gone through basically a committee of a lot of prominent Black and African American voices who wanted to opine on it. For example, the original name of Tiana was Maddie. They thought that was a very stereotypical, like, quote unquote, slave name, so they changed it to Tiana. And yet the end product was really good. I remember Mark and I were really skeptical, and I think he saw it first and was like, whoa, that movie's actually pretty good. So then I saw it and I was like, whoa, that movie's really good. Apparently it bombed in the box office. It did not.
It was successful. It just wasn't huge.
Right. And that was after them, it was one of those things where it's like you cater to a committee, you cater to what you think is going to be a target demographic, and then they don't show up. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be racist or anything. This is just the truth. I think everyone here who has been can vouch for me on this, but you don't see many African-American people in Disney World. Year after year, it's not like there's waves of them showing up. So if I'm on some committee looking at the numbers, it's like, do we want to take a risk on this? I mean, Splash Mountain is a ride that already gets millions of visitors every year. We're already $1 billion in the hole. Why don't we just not take a risk on it? That's just
I've already stated my opinion on it, that I would not mind a Princess and the Frog ride. It just doesn't belong in Adventureland. It belongs in Town Square, or it belongs in Liberty Square. You look like you are champing at the bit to say something, Prof.
It's just my personally favorite Disney princess movie.
Oh, really?
I don't want to say that. It's truly, I loved it. I loved it. As a kid, I would put it on. When I say kid, I mean as a little child, Englishine. Don't give me that look.
You're younger than my children.
I can't help when you had children. I'm sorry.
You're already a kid.
I would put it on numerous times because I just loved that movie so much. And while I do think that a ride for it would be fantastic. The idea of putting it in one, Frontierland, and two, over something that fits Frontierland, Splash Mountain, it's atrocious. It's an atrocity.
So it's a bad idea. It is. But the thing is, I would love to see their own ride. You guys have been to Pandora, right?
Yes.
How about like a ride like the Navi River Journey, except for you're going through the Louisiana Bayou, seeing all the characters doing their thing. So you still get the audio animatronics, you get the music, you get a nice, relaxing riverboat ride, which as an old guy, I'm 50 now, and I'm getting to the point where I'm as excited as I am for the Velocicoaster. I'm more excited for that ride I could sit down, relax, and let you entertain me in. I don't want to have to grip for my life on every attraction I'm going on now. I would love to see a nice riverboat ride through the bayou. What about you, Mark? What do you think?
I mean, obviously, I'd like to see the two exist separately. I mean, I would like Splash Mountain to stay Splash Mountain, and as someone who enjoyed Princess and the Frog, I would like to see a separate, unique Princess and the Frog ride. I mean, it's not like they dismantled Splash Mountain to try and turn it into the Snow White Seven Dwarfs coaster. They just built the Snow White Seven Dwarfs coaster. Yeah. I don't see why they can't just do that. As far as, you know, them having the whole COVID thing, losing a bunch of money, and so having to postpone the refurbishment. That's the thing, though, is I always feel like it's a stay of execution. So I'm from Northern Virginia, you know, the Redskins are our team, our football team, and every year, there, like clockwork, there would be some media outrage over the name the Redskins, and then every year it would subside, and then the next year it would happen again, and we just understood that was the way of things. It was like for like my entire life, there would be the yearly outrage in the media over the name the Redskins, but then it would go away. But finally, eventually, they succumbed, and now technically the team's name is the Washington Football Team, and they're looking for a new name right now. So eventually they succumb, and I think that they're going to postpone the Splash Mountain refurbishment, but eventually they're going to succumb. You know, it's just kind of one of those things that's on the clock.
Eventually, I'm sure that a lot of things will change somehow. I would suggest to them that the name Redskins is open. Lorenzo is saying, I vaguely remember Spaceship Earth from when I was a kid. It was fantastic. I don't know if that Grand Fiesta existed. It was the Mexico Pavilion. It was a Mexico ride, but it wasn't with the 3 caballeros and such. And yes, Spaceship Earth does have audio animatronics. That being said, I think it's Professor, it's your turn again, or is it my turn? No, it's my turn. Let's go off the last round. We have the American Adventure or Spaceship Earth. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is absolutely the perfect two. I really do. Now I'm looking at this battle. This is the perfect two. One's in the front of the park and directly across they are the front and exactly the back of the park. They are lined up. They're staring each other down, ready for battle here. And both of them, as I was saying in my argument, as much as I love Grand Fiesta, Spaceship Earth is an epic kind of ride. You get that epic kind of feel, especially when you reach the top. You've been through the journey of communication, and boom, there is Earth. You have Judi Dench, and it is Spaceship Earth. Bum, bum, bum. You do the little spin, and there's the planet Earth and everything. In America, of course, you got that ending song, but so they're both epic attractions. This is actually not a bad duo to put up in a finale here. That being said, I've got to go America Adventure. Now, I always do the song America's Spreadsheet because at the end, that whole thing. I love talking to cast members, by the way, from other countries. And I've spoken to people from England, and they've who've seen this show, and they think it's They think it's awesome because it's so American. It's bombastic. It's exactly what you would think the American attitude is. There are certain scenes that I've always enjoyed. The scene where Rosie the Riveter is amazing. I've always liked the scene where they're in the Revolution and you see George Washington on his horse, and it's not about him. He's not speaking. He's just sitting on his horse, and you've got the two soldiers talking about the fact that they lost their shoes, that most of the men have dysentery, that, and they're, because it's kind of trying to convey in just a short minute that how hard they had it during the Revolutionary War. Two scenes are particularly powerful. Of course, the one with Frederick Douglass going through down the Mississippi River, talking about slavery. And then, of course, I think it's Geronimo. I could be wrong about that. But, they're doing the thing and he goes, stop! And that big crash. Who is it?
Chief Joseph. Chief
Joseph. Yeah, okay. But that whole scene, there's so many really good moments in this show that probably we could go through and talk about it and just end up talking about the whole show. As much as I like the ending song, you also have Two Brothers, about the Civil War. Very powerful show. I've got to give my vote to America. Tim, where do you stand?
It's America for sure. They're both centerpieces. One is in the front, one is in the back, like you said. But in Walt's dying wish, I guess, for what he viewed the park to be at, it was going to be a permanent World's Fair, but he specifically said that he wanted America to be the host nation. Spaceship Earth has changed 3 times, or actually technically 4 times over the years. And while the message of communication hasn't changed, the quality has dipped, whereas the American Adventure has remained perennial. And it's so perfectly tailored that it's hard to walk out of that attraction without grasping its purpose completely. Even scenes that are kind of cringy because I don't agree with the politics, I don't think that was the point. The point was that the tapestry of American history is so robust that you're gonna take the good with the bad. So I mean, you have these great moments like, landing on the moon and stuff like that, but then they do show I guess a lot of the leftist cultural revolution that happened between the 70s up until the present. But it's hard because you're supposed to weigh all of that. That's kind of the beauty of it. And everything from the messaging of that, from the beginning to the end, is just tailored so perfectly. It's animatronics. It's obviously there's a show involved with it. So how do you condense almost the entire history of America into a 20-minute show? And they do it so finely. But I think this is the best thing I've seen about it. So as I mentioned last time, typically girls will cry during the show. Like I can vouch for that because we've taken obviously like our wives, girlfriends, people to it, and it's hard to escape with a dry eye. But I think the best testimony was there was one time when I had taken some foreigners there from Austria, and these were older people, probably in their 50s. And when we left, I was just like, well, what do you think about it? And they said, we really wish that there was as much pride in our country as you guys have in yours, because that show, like, you got it. You understood like completely what it was about. And I was like, well, that's a rarity. I mean, nowadays we live in a time where it's not chic to be patriotic. And so I think it serves as a final remnant to something that we've lost, and I think Disney would want us to keep. So I don't think this is a hard decision. Things can happen to Spaceship Earth, but I don't think you should change the American Adventure.
All righty. We're saying some powerful words. I think that we may have convinced our other two buddies to change their minds and go with us. Mark, how about you? Where would you go?
Oh, it's America. So I think America, it has better emotional manipulation than Spaceship Earth does. Mm-hmm. Spaceship Earth doesn't, I don't leave that ride like loving the planet Earth, but I leave America loving America. Spaceship Earth is a really cool ride. It's very similar. You're moving instead of sitting stationary, but you're still seeing all these animatronic dioramas. Mm-hmm. But when you get to like the ancient Greece diorama, there isn't some bombastic musical ballad that accompanies it. It's just Judi Dench saying like, Here's the ancient Greeks doing their ancient Greek thing. We're like, oh, here's ancient Egypt, and they're inventing papyrus. Now we move on, and it's very dry. Whereas the American Adventure, and this is a very American thing, where it is this swelling, wonderful, emotional presentation, this experience. It's very much in line with what even foreigners expect from Americans. They expect us to be very loud and emotional and intense, and that's exactly what that experience of the Great American Adventure is. And it gets a better emotional response from you. And so that's why I think it's, regardless of what country you're from, I think you will have a better time on that attraction.
All righty. Professor, I mean, it's decided, but which one would you have decided?
I'm not the odd man out. I just want to say, finally, I killed Spaceship Earth.
Okay, we'll give you that one. We'll give you this one. So is there... just to give you something to talk about here, what is your favorite scene in the American Adventure?
What you said before about the two brothers part, I always remember that part.
Two brothers gone away, one wore blue and one wore gray. Yeah,
you feel that. That's something you feel. Another favorite of mine is when Benjamin Franklin is walking up the stairs.
Oh, with a limp, no less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect. The show is perfect.
Yeah, he's using a cane, and yeah, he's walking up with a limp and everything, and it looks gorgeous. These are 40 years old now. Wow, Gail, you're old.
Holy cow.
Wow.
The audio animatronics for the American Pavilion are 40 years old, and they still look awesome.
I think they might be the most amazing animatronics in any of the parks.
Well, we're going to be talking about that at another park, in my opinion. As much as we might not like the ride, the audio animatronic is amazing. But yeah, it really holds up. How about you, Tim? Favorite scene in American Adventure?
There's a lot. I mean, it's just so good. But I would have to say that I think the one that has probably the most emotional resonance is probably it's the one towards the beginning where they show the arrival of the pilgrims to a new world, and then they show like the mother grieving over like the loss of her kid. Because if you notice, there's a painting early on where you can see the mother with her baby if you're paying attention, and then that it was tough. And they even say in the narration between Ben Franklin and Mark Twain, it was like the new world, it posed its own challenges, and nothing came easy. They had to work to settle in it. My other thing too, I'd say my second favorite to that, because I think this is more pertinent now than ever, but it's the quote at the end. He quotes Steinbeck, and he says that we now face the danger that's always been dangerous to humans, which is success. And I think that it's interesting because it ends with Ben Franklin being like, well, I'm not an idiot. I'm not looking at it through rose-colored glasses. But if you look at it, I mean, ironically, I think Steinbeck was a commie, but it was essentially a warning about the modern era. It was basically like, hey, you look at, for example, Antifa. It's all like the children of rich liberals.
Yeah, they're rich. They're bored, so they're burning down buildings because they're guilty for their wealth.
And I think listening to that, your hair stands up because you're like, this has all come to fruition. And so it means that the people who made this show, they knew enough about not just the American history, but our philosophy as a country to end it on that note. Because it's the idea that, hey, this can happen to anyone, so you guys better watch out.
Ever increasing forms of leisure.
Yeah.
But stuff. Only
so Mark, Mark, we'll close out on you then early. So what was your favorite part of?
So I'll say that the part of the ride that I have the most vivid memory of, just because it was during the Civil War part when they start singing that song. That's really sad ballad, and you can hear everyone sniffling in the theater because it's really song. And it's the part where it's like two brothers on their way, and this little girl, and everyone else is silent. This little girl somewhere in the theater said, where are they going? and the mother had like, shh, quiet, honey. And like they're going to die.
Well, at the end, especially when it says a cannonball don't pay no mind, and you see the one brother sitting
disappear.
there,
And that's the thing, is it elicited this emotional response because that girl sounded distressed. She was really worried about those two brothers. Like, she really wanted to know where they were going and if they were going to be okay. So, I mean, I remember that scene. Like, I'm going to remember that part. And it makes me laugh every time. It's the exact opposite reaction you're supposed to have. But every time I'm on that attraction and we get to that part, I can think of that little girl who goes, where are they going?
All righty. By the way, before we close out completely here, I'm going to ask you guys something. No, I got an idea. I'm thinking we're not done with EPCOT. I think we have one more brackets, and it could be done in one show, and that is we have to bracket the pavilions, the land pavilions.
That would be fun. Because just because we like the American Adventure,
is it the best pavilion? So
I like this one.
I think that next week we're going to bracket EPCOT one more time, and it will be the pavilions. We'll circle around, and we'll do it. Now there's 13 of them because I don't count the drink station. But I think there's 13. I'm pretty sure there's 13. Let's see if we can do this. It starts off Mexico, and then the next one is China, right? No, it's Norway, and then China, and then you go through the drink station, and it's Norway, and then it's Italy.
No, Germany,
Italy, America, Japan, Morocco, France, England, Canada. So there's 13. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out which one we want to give a pass to, or we'll flip a coin or do something, or I'll do that beforehand. And we'll bracket them out. I think
Morocco is taking over France, but that's a different subject.
All right. That's for the politics channel. All righty. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for hanging around and letting us talk to you about our favorite EPCOT rides. Lorenzo, one last comment here is saying, when I went as a kid, my entire family preferred EPCOT over Disney World. EPCOT was so unique. It is. I love that. That's actually mine and Gail's favorite park. It's just so relaxed, and it's got the best food. And as a fat guy, that's important. It does. It's got the best restaurants, hands down. So, I agree with you. It's really good. But anyway, once again, thanks for listening to us talk about the rides. We love doing Magic Kingdom. This was fun as well. Looking forward to getting on, but we got to do these pavilions, and I think we're going to have a good time. Next week, are you guys going to be available? Or
Yes, I will be here.
Yeah, I should be. Yep.
All righty. So should be next week around 9:00. But they are on a book tour. Of sorts around YouTube channels talking about their new book. He says as a hint to talk about your book.
We have Common America Volume 2. It's on Kickstarter right now. It's a pre-order. I know a lot of people use it for fundraising. The book is done, 100% done. And once you back it, we're shipping it to everyone in either late October, early November. We actually will go to print probably next Friday, if not a little bit after that, depending on schedules. But for people who want Common America Volume 1, I have great news. It is going to be available in comic book stores next month at the end of October. And it is, here's the best part. So we charge $10 for at least a 58-page book, or 56-page book in the case of Common America 1. It is going to be in retail stores for the same price, minus the 8 pages, which means you got the better deal backing our campaign, because it's the same price, except for the retail version, we cut out the epilogue. So I'm very happy that Antarctic Press is putting that out. Apparently, according to them, the sales are really good on it. So just hit up your local comic book store and pick it up exactly 1 month from now. It debuts, I think, on October the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, and I gotta say, I think it's cool that you guys are cutting out the epilogue. because I always thought, okay, wait a second, why didn't they just wait until the book's on the shelf if that's the case? But now you made collector's items out of the ones who back then. I think that's pretty cool.
Yes, and I'm very excited because, for example, Walmite, which is our parody books, right now if you go on eBay, type in Walmite, 2 separate words, it's $100 on eBay. And I think the reason why is because Antarctic Press just announced that they're putting out their own version, minus 16 pages. So it is the same price, but without the 16 pages that we include in the campaign versions. And so people realize, oh, it's a different book entirely. It's not even just a reprint of the one that's in the campaign. And that's standard for everything that we do. There is no guarantee that Antarctic Press will take up our books. For example, they passed on Soul Finder. I have no control over that. Editorial doesn't tell me why. So
that book was awesome. I like that one.
Yeah, and Soul Finder, so right now, I mean, the only place you can get it is online. So there is no guarantee that we ever go into retail. We're just happy when Antarctic Press does it. And we like it because it keeps comic book stores afloat too. I know that they're few and far in between after all the nonsense of the year, but if we can do our part to keep books on shelves, we always give Antarctic Press a go around to see if they want to print our book. So we're happy to say that it is going to be in stores at this time next month.
All righty. Well, once again, guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Remember, next week at 9 o'clock, we're going to do EPCOT Part 3, the country pavilions. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. We got to go to EPCOT. We got to go around and just test them and really find out which one we like better. It is always, gang, thank you very, very much for watching, and have a zippity-doo-dah day.
And we'll see you